So I stuck one in my window and picking up 40, depending on what TV it is, 40 to 45. I don't know why. If it's the time of day when I scanned it. We've had customers pick up for 50, just depending on where they're at town. So they can be affected by the weather, but it's free once you put it up. And that's the crazy thing about the local retransmission rates is these channels are all free over the air, but they charge the cable companies a boatload of money. Significant money to.
Yeah, without the right antenna, we're in kind of a spot. We're kind of the midpoint between the two market antennas. Have you ever? What's that?
Public TV comes in really good.
Well, it's within a mile. Has there been any conversation about petitioning some of the other services to allow wider choice of market? There is a petition process that you can go through individually with direct, or that basically goes back to for this end of town would go back to KCAU and KTIV and said, look, these people want the other market. Are you okay with that?
Sure.
And I don't know if there's a possibility to do that on behalf of.
Sure.
Well, years ago we just quit.
Yeah.
Because technically we're in the Sioux City DMA.
Yeah.
And so this was probably 10 years ago. We showed them a survey that was completed with cable customers. That survey that was 90+% wanted Sioux Falls programming for local programming versus Sioux City. And they didn't raise a lot of stink. You're talking 500-600 customers at that time. So they agreed to just not push the issue with us that, hey, you can't pull Sioux City or Sioux Falls because Union County is in the Sioux City DMA.
Well, I know it was, the FCC decided that Union County believes in Sioux City. The odd thing is, if you're in Vermilion, you're in the Sioux Falls DMA.
Correct. If you go across the district,
I took my cable 10 years ago and I bought one from Best Buy about $100, and I get almost 40-something channels. I get Friends, I get all that stuff. So I'm not saying you gotta do it, but my other question to you is labor and the cost to run the cable. Ballpark figure, like we're minus what or plus what, or equipment and time, the labor that you're using.
So that labor is all paid out of the telephone.
Right.
So
that's what I'm saying. We're probably running at a minus overall.
If we wanted to include that in there, yes, we would be. And we do. I would say, since we installed our fiber optic cables in everybody's houses, the majority of our troubles are cable.
I would kind of like, if it's at all possible, since I'm on your cable committee, vice president, I would like to request, if it's at all possible, to get some type of what if for the next year or next 2 years or 3 years. What would you recommend, within the next, say, 2 years, what would your game plan be that if you had the option to help the city out with what plan we could take? I think that would be a little bit better than to come in every year and say, well, this, and this, like he said, he doesn't want to get jumped up on the street. We need you for the ambulance.
It's never, you're always going to have some of these people who are anti-streaming, and they want to turn the TV on and flip channels. And it's not, typically we see it on the older people, but I was talking to a guy today who's, not too much older than me, and he was trying YouTube TV, and he's like, I don't like having to go back to the guy. I'd just rather turn the TV on. I said, well, we're going to go into some rates at the cable meeting, and never mind, I'm sticking with YouTube just because the cost is so different. But the people some of them just like to turn the TV on and flip through it.
And that's your older demographic.
Yeah, typically, correct. So, but again, you're never gonna have a perfect scenario or solution for everybody.
I resemble that remark.
Experience.
Is there an this being part of that business, providing subscription television lineup, does one of those scenarios put someone else's service on your wires and you just don't do that service? And Alliance or Midco, where somebody says, okay, here's the deal, and we've got the channel lineup and we'll pipe that up over SDN and and away you go.
So I did talk to the Alliance a little bit about it, but now they're shutting their cable
Okay.
system down, so,
I mean,
essentially.
potentially that's an option where you just set that business
Yeah.
aside and have a third party.
So here's where it's tricky. We don't want to get rid of the essentially lines or allow anybody to use those lines because those lines are set up for a return path and they could be used for internet. And then we've got an internet competitor in here, Slam Midco, and
Okay.
now that poses another problem. So, yeah. I don't know what, as far as contract language goes, if we can technically go and we'd have to look at it, Tom, and say, hey, can we buy it from somebody else? So the streaming issue, I did look at some streaming so we could just turn everything off and outside and you just over the internet, because that's what Alliance is actually doing. They have their own app, they stream it, but the cost to get into it is so significant. It's like just to buy the equipment, it's over $200,000. It doesn't make any sense. So.
How many of these 312 customers also have internet through us?
I'd have to pull a report on that, but I'm assuming majority of them do.
The majority of them do have internet.
I would assume so. I mean, we have 900 people, about 900, a little over 900 customers on internet. So I don't know how many houses are all in town, but 1,150-ish, 1,200. So
Okay.
I can pull a report and take a look at that if you want.
Yeah, I'd like to know how many of those 312 remaining customers are using our internet.
I wouldn't discourage you from, I mean, if you feel it's appropriate to ask for a third party as far as the programming stream, and I know that may be a shrinking part of the overall business, but I had a situation about, oh gosh, it was 12 years ago on a odd digital type contract. And instead of following the way we've always done, we just said, well, what do you want? What do you want? What do you want? Here are the rules, and just made up a new way to do it. And I think the digital world is like that now. You can stray from the way we've always done it. So if you feel, if that's a discussion and it were to come up with Alliance or Midco or anybody to say, here's what we're talking about. And we're not talking about sneaking in on other parts, but are you interested or not? In this part of it, as a third party.
Sure.
And they may say, no, it doesn't work. Well, then you know.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't let it dissuade you about creativity in the contract.
Sure. Yeah, and I know most of these people most of the companies, I'll just be upfront, I'm not gonna go talk to Midco. Midco is not a friend of ours.
Yeah.
And so, the SDN companies we are probably the only one in the state with SDN Communications that are, running RF still. So, they're all doing IPTV, so they're running over their fiber, got some type of a cable port that comes out of their fiber ONT, and it's a different scenario. We looked at that when we did our fiber build, and it was like $250,000 just to put the equipment in. So if we could do it, it's probably a streaming option, and then you're back to, are we better off working with somebody or just saying, hey, we're done and you guys will let YouTube TV take care of it? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But
the wild card in that discussion is, what is it do the people here need or want? And what would they be willing to do? And that's an important part of the equation. It doesn't show up on the spreadsheet, but
yeah.
So
and I hear you. I mean, there is I have a little hesitation about that.
Yeah.
Just shutting it off and now what? Right? I mean,
yeah.
Essentially, what do you provide to these people?
Yeah, well, that's why I like Eli's idea of a phase-out plan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Here you go. We're going to do this. It's going
Start
to be
preparing people now.
3-year deal or
Yeah.
it's a 2-year window.
Yeah, but you got engineers on the payroll, plus if you need help, don't feel like you're stuck by yourself. Get the engineers or whatever you need, come up with, maybe 2 or 3 different options, like Brent said, he said, I'd rather have, we check this, and this 3 or 4 options, but it costs a couple dollars for the engineers, you got my one, whatever it takes to get the customers happy, within reason. I don't want you to be overheard, no, either.
Or right after that, we have the giant town hall meeting on how to use Paramount Plus
Right.
and everything else. And
Yeah. And I know that's, one of the strategies Alliance has taken is they're, hey, at the library every so often, you know, they just pick random towns and here we go, here's how you stream.
Yeah.
And, yeah, so,
Interesting.
right.
Oh, I gotta declare, I own stock in Warner Brother, I own stock in AT&T, and I have, that was another social media, just so I don't want someone to say I'm going against Beresford, I'm all for Beresford.
That'll be reflected in disclosure agreement.
I make a motion to accept resolution 2024-01.
Second.
We have a motion on the table to accept the resolution.
there's a motion on the table to accept the resolution. We're still Beresford Cable Vision.
Sorry.
Any discussion? We have plenty. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Sounds good.
Now, what about the rest of the business?
Doing well.
People today.
Yes, the internet telephone side of things is doing very well, so.
Is that all you needed to cover with that then tonight?
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
All right,
Motion to dissolve the discussion, Beresford Cable Vision.
I make a motion to adjourn the Beresford Cablevision
Second.
And reconvene as.
and reconvene as city council.
Art still seconds it.
Second.
Discussion? Favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
There we go.
Your turn.
We should previously cover on that. All
Thank
right,
you very much.
reconvene,
Okay.
city council meeting and move on to next line of business. Officer Chief Michael Shirk would like to present 2023 annual report and talk about the availability of the police interceptor hybrid engine.
There's a couple of things on there that I put in, but,
Floor's yours.
yeah. I'm not gonna read through the whole report, there's some things I'll touch base on. Pretty much status quo from last year, we're just over 2%, or a little under 2%, more calls for service than we were in 2022. Some things to touch on, the violent crimes are up from 30%, this last year. The drug-related crimes were up 12%. The good thing about everything is the thefts were down 17% from 22 to 23. Department's doing good. We're full staffed. We're just grinding. Any questions?
Do you attribute some of those increases to the fact that you guys are out there more and seeing more?
I'd like to think so.
Yeah.
So, you'll reflect. I mean, we got a bunch of extra patrols of areas that are high crime areas, storage units, businesses.
Yep.
People that are snowbirds. We're checking their houses and stuff like that. So.
Perfect.
And we're still not incarcerated people, so they're just
Rotating them
they're just,
through.
they're just rotating. It's a redundant.
Any concerns in the year over year that you're concerned about for the community?
No, not for the community.
Okay.
The only concern I've ever had for our department is just staying full staff. Everyone knows that law enforcement, and I mean, it's a hard profession now to get into. No one wants to do it. So knock on wood, we're doing good. We had some shuffling this year with some promotions and some new ads, and everyone's doing good there. So.
Good. Well, I know you guys are usually first on the scene during the ambulance calls, but that's not normal. Do we need to accept the report?
Have a motion to accept the report.
Make a motion to accept the 2023 annual Beresford Police Department report.
Second.
Motion, and it's been seconded to accept the report. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion passes.
I'll move on here. So last week, an email was sent out. So for those of you that are on the council, off the council, Jerry reached out to a dealership in Minnesota, Nelson Automotive. At the time we were looking for patrol vehicles. They said they couldn't fulfill our needs, so we went to the South Dakota State bid through Lamb Automotive, which is in Oneida. They said that they could get us a hybrid vehicle a couple months down the road, Nelson reached out to us and said, hey, we have one now available for you, so we got that, and we kept the other one coming. So we were just notified last week that they are not fulfilling our order for the 2024 Ford Interceptor hybrid. They said it's due to the strike, and they're so behind on 2023s, they're just stopping production of all 2024 hybrids at the state bid level. They do have a 3.3 liter EcoBoost that would be coming in. The price is about $4,000 more expensive, which is about $49,699. What is it, about $3,000 or $4,000 more expensive than the hybrid here?
Yeah, pretty close.
I called Nelson Auto Center in Minnesota. I called several Ford dealerships. I'm getting the same question. Good luck getting a hybrid in 2024. Some people, I mean, Nelson didn't even have an EcoBoost, but they had the regular 3.3 liter, and I'm waiting to hear back to see what the cost is up to go on that. I'm not sure why the EcoBoost is more expensive than the hybrid. That seems unreal to me, but they did say, Nelson Auto Center did say that they would be able to get us on the list for 2025 with an unknown delivery date. So we could order 2024 for 2025, but we don't know when it's going to be.
In your current rotation, you were gonna get the one this year, are you scheduled to replace another one next year, or?
So I was supposed to, we got rid of the Ram, we got rid of the Vic.
Yes.
The Tahoe is obviously got the older one, the 2018. It's got a lot of body miles on it. The engine and transmission were replaced last year. So we just figured with how hard it is to get patrol vehicles, let's just get this one going. So that way we didn't even really need to outfit right away. Just have it for when it's available. Which, you know, with this one, it took a long time to outfit, so we're using that, go back and forth to court and trainings and stuff like that, so.
In your opinion, one second, I don't mean to interrupt. In your opinion, what's your evaluation? What would you do? Is the 4,000 better? Or is it 4,000 gonna cost more and not be better? What's your
You
opinion?
know, I can't tell you, they all make vehicles terrible nowadays, so it doesn't matter Ford, Chevy.
I mean, what's the difference on the 4,000? What do you get extra? The heavier suspension or
No,
just a model?
you're getting the same thing, just a different engine. I mean, you're getting a hybrid to a non-hybrid.
Yeah, but they're gonna guarantee it though for the 4,000 more or less. That's what you're saying?
Well, there's gonna be a warranty on it.
Well, yeah, but they're gonna guarantee they get delivered sooner rather than wait in line for all these other guys.
I haven't gotten the answer one way or another when these would be available.
Oh, okay.
So,
If you think you can get until 2025, roll your budget over to next year and put an order in for two. Because if we were planning to replace one in 2025 anyway,
I would only need one.
you only need one. Okay.
And it's a budgeted item for this year.
Yeah, I know.
But I was trying to get everything with the current hybrid we have on last year's budget. It just didn't line up that way with ordering stuff. So that money, you know, I wanted to come out last year is going to come out of this year. That's not budgeted. So I guess I can get some quotes for just the regular 3.3 liter just to see if it's anywhere comparable to the hybrid. But I think that was the main push for the hybrid was the fuel economy, which it's a great vehicle. We just finally got it back today from being outfitted. And,
I was gonna say, having driven it now, what is your general opinion of the hybrid? What's the opposite opinion?
so there's only, we drove it back and forth to court. And the general consensus is it's weird because you can drive down the road and it just RPMs go to zero because it kicks into hybrid mode. But tested it. I mean, it's a pretty snappy little vehicle. So I'm impressed with it from what I had at the county, because I had an Interceptor at the county, probably like first generation, second generation, and I hated them. So a couple people that have driven them, they're impressed with them. I'm impressed with it. A little bit less room, but
Would you prefer to get the new hybrid or look at this 3 liter just to have the new?
I don't think it matters because the body styles are going to be the same. So, you know, the big push was fuel economy, and if we want to stick with that, then I think we should try to stick with the hybrid. But
I'd like to see that. I can't speak for what else, but.
I will.
Is there any analysis on total cost of ownership? I mean, is it, we assume that there's some reduction in cost because we're not sitting at the gas pump very often, but for an average car like that, on an annual basis, are you saving a couple $1,000s?
We don't even know, because it's just so fresh. I mean, we haven't used it on a daily rotation. So it just went into rotation tonight. Tonight's the first night that it'll be used for actual patrol.
And we give like 1 to 3 year warranty on it.
They Ford offers a 3 or 36,000 mile warranty.
You can get an extended
Ford
one,
offers.
right? You can get an extended warranty, right? Because those batteries sometimes cost a little bit. I prefer to get an extended if we could.
Yeah, we didn't get an extended warranty. We just got the manufacturer's warranty on this one. So
Yeah, but I mean, what's a 2 year extended warranty?
I don't know if they would offer one to a police department.
Oh, well, like my car, I got 100,000. I think
Well,
it's a couple thousand more, but it covers everything.
So I guess what I can do is I can crunch some numbers and get back to you guys just to see.
Sounds good.
If the main push for the hybrid is with fuel economy, I think we need to stay with our agenda.
Is there a way for you to track what your expenses are on that one compared to the vehicle you were driving that it replaced? If it's a ton extra work, I don't know if it was just something that you.
Well, math was never my good. In school, so.
The
I'll give it to my constituents in my department and they will, we can try to track some sort of fuel economy.
Yeah.
I know when I was driving it back and forth to Sioux Falls, it was getting roughly 20 miles a gallon. The Tahoe was probably 14, 12.
Mm-hmm.
So, you can see it there.
Mm-hmm.
It does have a smaller tank than the Tahoe, so. Yeah, on the backside, it's cheaper to fill up.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
Alright, so, you'll do some research, you'll come back,
Mhm.
we'll make a plan to go from there.
Absolutely. I have a couple more things that were not on there. One's for the federal overtime speed enforcement. So I don't know if this would be an old business because we've already approved the purchase of the speed signs. I guess it's my fault. So little miscommunication between me and the feds that they cover 75 or 85% of the speed boards that we ordered. The total of that was $8,750 for 2 speed boards, and our cut for the city would be $1,750. I thought that we would cut a check, feds would cut a check, and it'd all go to this company that makes these. Well, that is not the case. We have to pay the full amount and then put in a reimbursement request to the federal government, and then they would cut the city a check that would go back in the general fund. So what that would do, it would lopside my budget.
I can credit that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And actually the company that we reached out to realized that, they're kind of doing us a solid. They actually threw in an extra one and gave us a discount for the trouble that we had to go through. So we're getting 3 speed signs for the price of 2. So still think it's a pretty good idea, or a pretty good deal. That way we can get some, solar signs and then kind of like a 2-year warranty on them.
Where do you plan to put those?
I haven't decided yet. For sure one out by Eastway coming into town, so that's a racetrack.
Yep.
I've pondered the pool. I don't know where we're gonna go with the pool speed limit. I don't know. I get a lot of complaints about that, and my general answer is just follow what the sign says. But there's some confusion because we shut off the lights. It's a low, wintertime, there's not a lot of traffic there.
Yep.
I am up for any input on that. For sure, I want to put one out the east, so they'll come into town.
Need one on it today, Tom, or we got to put it on the agenda for you 24-hour notice?
Oh, is there anything to hold on?
No,
Sorry.
I just wanted to let,
Just
I
information.
guess you guys know that it's a snafu on my part, and
No, it's all right.
next time we go to do something like this, I'll know that we gotta pay the full amount and then just get reimbursed. So.
It's all right. You got my support. Thank you. You're doing a great job.
Yep, any other questions on that? Okay, last thing I have is north baseball field damage. That has been solved, crime of the century. The city has been paid restitution for the damage that was done out to the ball field, and that is a closed deal.
Excellent.
Good job.
That's all I have.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Have a great night.
We could, so Mike doesn't, I'd like him in the executive session for legal. Won't take long, but you wanna take that out of order, and he wouldn't have to stick around for the rest of the meeting.
I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
Then Austin can go home too if he wants.
Motion second to go